My name is Margaret, although most people know me as Peggy Eaton. I was born in Washington, D.C. in 1799. My family owned an establishment known as the Franklin House. Now, the Franklin House was a hotel and tavern service, often frequented by members of the military and politicians. As a teenager, I began working in the tavern part of our establishment on a frequent basis. When I was 16 years old, I attempted to run away and marry one of our regulars. Unfortunately, we were caught by my father. You see, my lover, in the middle of the night, he had knocked over a flower vase and woke everyone up. Anyway, it was at this point that my father decided it was high time for me to be married off to a much more sensible man. So I was married off to a Mr. John Timberlake. And Mr. Timberlake was 39 when I was 17 years old, which is the year that we got married. Our marriage lasted about 12 years, and in those 12 years we had 2 children. Near the end of our marriage, we ran into some financial difficulty, and we asked Mr. John Eaton to help us out. And of course, that still wasn't enough, so my husband returned to the sea, to the Navy, to try and earn us more money. And while he was gone, the care of myself and our 2 daughters was left in Mr. John Eaton's establishment. And of course, Mr. Eaton escorted me about town quite often during this time, and many rumors started to arise that Mr. Eaton and I were having an affair while my husband was away. And of course, the rumors only got worse when my husband died at sea. See, he died of pneumonia, but many people claimed it was suicide because he knew that I was having an affair with his friend, which is absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, at the advisement of eventual President Andrew Jackson, Mr. Eaton and I were married within a matter of months, which was not appropriate considering the average amount of time to wait is roughly 1.5 to 2 years. When Mr. Jackson won the presidency, he made my husband into his Secretary of War. And the scandal that surrounded my name, and Mr. Jackson's name in addition, led to many of members of cabinet disliking both myself, my husband, and the president. And the president took this as a personal offense. And so what Mr. Van Buren, the eventual vice president, suggested we do is that himself, along with my husband, would resign from cabinet, and this would allow the president to ask the other members of cabinet to resign as well, which they did, which, thank the Lord that that's what happened. I was very tired of the vice president's wife constantly refusing to invite me to parties. It was quite embarrassing. And of course, eventually, both Mr. Jackson and my husband did die, and I outlived both of them. And I got married one final time. The young man I married was 28 while I was about 64. The marriage didn't last long. You see, he took most of my money and then ran off with my granddaughter. I died shortly after.